Welcome back, crew. We got a lot to cover in today's short little video. Bitcoin just tags a new all-time high. Ethereum is starting to shake things up, and altcoins, well, they're finally waking up, and I got a secret little indicator you're not going to want to miss. So stick around to the end. Welcome back, Crypto Crew. It's your boy Tom here, bringing you the hottest in Bitcoin and crypto action. If you like what you see, give us a like. Make sure you hit subscribe if you haven't already. And of course, make sure you follow us on X, where we talk about Bitcoin and crypto all day, every day. All right, is this just a hype spike, or is this the beginning of something massive? We're going to be talking about that in this video and more. So let's break it all down. All right, live price right now 110,777. It's up about 1.9% over the past 24 hours. And we're going to do a little chart work right here. We just hit the fresh all-time new high of 112, like 55, before cooling off slightly. Profit-taking resistance is natural here. So we talked about this yesterday, right? We're going to start to clean up this chart for you live. So right now we had that vector that the market came down into. It held the support, as I said yesterday. First level of resistance was 109,678. Spiked right through the first level and the second level of resistance. This was all short covering. This is where the bears were screaming like, what the F just happened to my position? They were holding the line for so long. And they finally lulled to sleep. They weren't really expecting to snap up to this level. So now Bitcoin reaches another right here, new all-time high, right around 112. It all depends on what chart you're looking at. Some people, some charts say 112.55, 75. This chart says 112.15. Okay, I'll take it. No big deal. Right now, currently trading at 110.850. So since we reached the 112.15, we could look for a support point at around 109,000 now. So really this level right here, this blue line that we had yesterday, I'm going to move it down a little bit just to bring it down to actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'll get rid of it so the chart looks a little bit cleaner so we could see exactly where we are. Let's expand this chart out a little bit. Let's make it a little bit bigger so we can actually, dig in a little bit. So right now, here's the resistance point. Brand new resistance. We said that there would be profit taking up here for the simple reason that people holding coin, probably for short-term traders. If you're holding a coin more than like a week, okay, that's a long-term trade, right? So as soon as you start to see you're spiking, you're taking profits, and you've been in some psychological pain for a while where the market wasn't moving, it was just coiling, and it could have broke either way at that point, and it still can break either way. However, as soon as they saw that spike up, they were horny and happy to take profits. Now, did they buy a $50 hoe, or should they have waited for that $500 call girl? Now, I think that they should have waited for the $500 call girl. But however, this is, it's all conjecture on my part, right? So right now, the new support, so if I go 112 and I take off, I'm going to go 109,000. I'm going to bring this down to right down to here, 109,000. Now, why am I doing that? Why am I saying that? Well, I like to use average true range. So the average true range on Bitcoin, 20-day average true range is about $6,000, okay, historically. So if I'm using a 50% rule, all right, like retracements 50%, that's generally what a market can do. That becomes the ultimate support or the actual pivot point for me. All right, so I'm introducing you to some of the stuff that I do. Everybody trades differently. There's many different ways to trade as there are thumbprints on the planet. So this thumbprint says a 50% retracement of the average true range actually should act as a support point. All right, so now short term, okay, if we look at it, we should actually have support right at this old high, 110,504. We're trading very, very close to it, 110,820 right now. So your warning level that you're going to potentially kind of come back down a little bit is if I put up a level right here. Let me get up a array, okay? If I come up to this point right there and I throw a line there, here becomes a new like Ray, this line, if we break down through, we could actually trade a little bit lower, potentially to that 109. Now that 109 has to hold for us in order for us to turn back up and now get through this all-time high and hit this upper fib channel level at 113,000. So those are the short-term points right now that we have to pay attention to, in my humble opinion. All right, now if we move on, I'm going to move on to another chart. I'm just going to clean this up because guys in our group like to work on charts and like they hate to see my mess. So I'm cleaning up after myself, guys. Come on over here. I want to show you this, the Bitcoin breakout pattern. Okay, now as we said, we're up over about 1.9% over the last 24 hours. All right, now what fueled it? Okay, what fueled it? The move was fueled by tech sector strength, Nvidia, NASDAQ gains, and risk-on sentiment globally. The market has started to discount Trump's tariffs. Now, in order for Bitcoin to continue with this breakout, now this is where the bears, we caught the bears by the short hairs right here. Market rallied up. We finally just kissed this top right here. We need to continue. We need to get through, like now I think 114 would be the next level of resistance that we got to get through. However, Bitcoin needs support from macro drivers. ETF inflows, trade policy, and clarity. Now, a softening Fed signals that Bitcoin is going to roar. I don't know if Powell is going to cut the rates. Actually, as Donald Trump said yesterday, he finally came to the same conclusion I did. I wish he would have called me. I would have told him. It really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter because the economy is roaring along even with the slightly higher rates compared to global rates. Now, would I like to see him do it to fuel Bitcoin? Yeah, but do I really think that it needs to be done to fuel Bitcoin? No. I'll tell you why. Because as the coin stays up at these levels, okay, and the volatility starts to decrease in the coin, it is going to be more accepted by conventional finance. Okay, you need stability in order to have, have this coin tied to, like, say, treasury assets of all different countries. If you remember back, well, maybe you don't remember back, but maybe if you remember back in the 1980s or the 1990s, if you're as old as I am, what countries used to do is they used to peg their currency to the US dollar. Why? Because the dollar offered stability. So they would peg their currency to the dollar in order to create stability for their markets. Now, the dollar was globally adopted as the reserve currency of the world. Dollar still is dominant currency of the world because just the sheer size of the United States, but the debt looming problem is a problem for us. So really, Bitcoin is going to be the go-to. So even the U.S. dollar may, with Bitcoin reserves, what they're basically saying, without saying it, is they're pegging the U.S. dollar to Bitcoin. So as soon as this volatility kind of closes down a bit, where we can maybe get 6% volatility as opposed to like 35% volatility, then this is total adoption, and it's a total... The market, the world is going to adopt Bitcoin reserves, and as you know, there's only a certain amount of Bitcoin, and it's almost done printing. So I want to show you that secret little indicator that I was talking about. So Bitcoin spot ETFs continue to attract capital, right? So if I come on over and I want to show you this, all right, not many people are talking about it. I think I'm the only guy talking about it. Why? Because I like to look for other ways to basically judge what's happening in the market. So the IBIT chart, okay, from BlackRock, okay, generates higher revenue than its flagship S&P 500 fund. Let me say that again. IBIT, iShare Bitcoin Trust ETF, now has generating higher fees and revenue than its flagship S&P 500 fund. You don't think BlackRock is going to push this of its sales force of 12,000 guys or gals, whatever they got out there? They are going to push this, and they have been pushing it, and money has been flowing into this for diversification. This is very, very important, and this is something nobody else talks about. So as we go back to this chart once more time, we're just going to show you this. the Bitcoin is breaking out. The bears are screaming in disbelief. Now, we showed you this chart before. Descending, broadening wedge. Look where we are on it, okay? Now, do we have a chance to come back down to 105? Absolutely. Absolutely. But it's not going to affect the structure at all. Do we have a chance to come back down to close to that CME market cap? Yeah. Is it probable? No. Is it possible? Yes, it is possible, but not really probable at this time. As long as we stay above, say, 108 and a half, 106, it's just coiling again for another spike up. So I don't think this is hype. This is not a hype-driven rally at all. Was it a short covering rally? Absolutely. Absolutely. That's when you saw, and I come back to the short-term chart, the 2-hour chart. I want to show you this chart. This spike was the short covering. Okay, this was everybody trying to. They weren't dancing near the door, man. They were they were enjoying the short-term party as being short, but they weren't dancing near the door. They didn't take. They got short potentially here. They could have bought back here. They didn't. They were expecting a breakdown further, possibly back to the 100,000 level. And guess what? They all exited right here. They were all scrambling to exit right there. So as we stand right now, we're trading in between these 2 points. As I said, I don't want to beat that up, but if we come back over to this, the broadening wedge is still in play. Target 144,000. I want to show you something Frank put together. I think it's awesome. Bitcoin hash ribbon pattern. I love this chart. Okay, I love it. I think it's so pretty. So that's why I'm picking it for the thumbnail. But anyway, really what we're looking at with the hash ribbon, the pattern doesn't lie. The first signal that we had was a warm-up, okay? The second signal, an explosive move. In 2023, it went 180%. In 2024, okay, in 2024, we went up 73%. And in 2025, it's flashing again. So you got to strap in for the biggest move yet. We've been saying it. A lot of people have been telling us that we're liars. You're allowed. This is lies. I wonder where that chick is right now, because her comment's not going to age very well. Like I told you in a previous video, we only talk about what we see. We try to give you the most transparent analysis there is, and we'll say it. If the marketplace we think is in a downturn, we'll say this marketplace is in a downturn, and this is what we think is going to happen. But we haven't seen anything like that yet, and we've been proven correct right now. So now we want to take you over to like a longer term view. This is the longer term view. This is complete conjecture, okay? But we'll handle it when we get there. So if we're looking at a Bitcoin wave chart, Bitcoin's last wave, say before the storm, we're sitting right now right here inside this channel. Okay, so what we're looking at historically, it ends in euphoria. So the marketplace rallies up, rallies back down, comes up. This is where everybody and in their mother, this is where the grandmas in the nursing home start talking about buying Bitcoin. It's too late. There's an old Wall Street saying that, I forget, I think it was Jay Gould that once said that, when he went to go get his shoes tied in Times Square, or actually in, Times Square or wherever, Penn Station, and he had the shoe shine boys talking about a certain stock. He said, oh, it's time to sell. Nothing against shoe shine guys, but it generally means when the general public really starts to try to adopt something, they are notoriously late. So you can expect a euphoric rally at 155,000, a pullback, that ends, and then a collapse. So it's usually where market peaks. Now, we're not talking about collapsing down. I think Frank, again, is being a little irrationally exuberant down to 66,000. I don't think that's going to happen. But who knows? You know what I mean? I think he's doing this just for an embellishment of the chart to show, historically how these markets peak and how bulls get wrecked if they buy the top. All right, so let's move on over to Ethereum. If you weren't in the live stream yesterday, you missed out, man. You missed out. Justin took a live trade, went long Ethereum. I'm going to show you that on our broker of choice where we showcase everything. RIPS, low fees, fast execution. He went long, okay, at 2,777. Right now, he's ROI is 40.69% up. Free trading group. All right, giving you some tips. Didn't have, just if you watched it, it would have been great. However, If you would have said, you know what, I think I like this, I think I'm going to take a trade, guess what? You'd be up 40%. Okay. Now, we talked about this bull flag pattern before. Ethereum itself. Ethereum is actually running the show right now. It's up 6% today. Justin's trade yesterday was a sniper attack. It was a great trade. Congratulations. Wonderful, wonderful. Really, I got to give him, you got to think about this, to do something like this live, okay, to have people staring at you, it's like kind of trading in your underwear. You're naked, right? Everybody sees your little willy. They see all your imperfections. They see all your birthmarks. You know what I mean? It's really tough to do. I'm not saying he's got a little willy. I don't know. I don't really care. But really what I'm saying is that, it's very, very difficult to do. And, Merlin did it live, in front of a lot of people at that challenge, grabbed the trophy out of it. I've been trading a very long time. I could trade with a group of people that I know. They know me, but it's very, very difficult to trade like where everybody's staring at you. Try it one day. Try to even bring your girl in, your boyfriend in, or whatever, and say, hey, yeah, we're going to trade today. It's really difficult because you don't want to look stupid. Right? Because we're all trained from young people that, you got to get the highest test score. It has nothing to do with trading. Trading's probabilities, right? Losses are part of the game. However, it's tough to do. So enough with that. Sorry about that. So as we stand right now, we're looking at 2,900 for the total breakout. All right. Now, where can we go? If we look back in this chart, short term, okay, I'm going to look at this wick right here. Lowest tick on this bar right there is going to be an important little push through 2009-17, 2009-50. Okay, why I say that? Because charts have memory. Okay, and history, it doesn't repeat exactly, but it rhymes. That point is an old point that was an old support point where the market could not get back up through this previous high. So this point right here is going to be a battlefield. 2009-20 will be a battle. We can get through that and hold that. Then guess what? That becomes new support, okay, to actually carry us forward. Now, we think that Ethereum itself is going to take off, and we've been saying that. So the weekly gains in Ethereum right now are outpacing Bitcoin, which is historically one of the early signals that alt season is heating up. So what's behind it? Okay, well, we got inflows, staking demand, and a surge in DeFi volume. So Ethereum has, if I take you over to this chart, we've showed you this before. Ethereum nailed the retest. MACD flipped bullish, and the breakout zone held like a rock. So smart money is already in position, and this is how really big rallies begin. So are you in this? All right, are you in it? We showed you this chart before as well. Falling wedge bull flag pattern. We're breaking out of the flag. Yay! We were sitting inside this channel for so long, and I was like, man, this market is just, it was trying to lull you to sleep, and it just smacked you in the head right now to wake up. So guess what? If you didn't get in when Justin got in yesterday in a live stream, also there's going to be a live stream on Saturday. Make sure you join that because he'll update you on all these, all the positions that he has. But anyway, the weekly chart, if I come on over to the weekly chart, anyway, let's just stick with this 1 second. Gotta stay focused on. Breaking out right now, okay, 2,800, 2,900 takes us up. Like I showed you in the other chart, that 29, say 50 level from the previous low that was support before it broke down is an important point. But, however, if we look at the weekly on Ethereum, golden cross, okay? The weekly chart just triggered another golden cross. The average move after this signal was up 84%. It's rare, it's powerful, and it's flashing again. So don't fight history. Ignore it at your own risk. But I'm telling you, Ethereum is on a mission. Ethereum's on a mission. And we showed you this chart before, okay? And we said, this is the mission, all right? Now, we also have Wyckoff. We talked about Wyckoff. I'm going to ask Frank to put up a Wyckoff chart again because we were in the middle of the creek. We're starting to cross that creek right now. And it looks like Ethereum picked up a little bit of a motorboat. Instead of paddling, it looks like they put on like a five horsepower Evinrude engine on there, or a Johnson engine, or whatever engines are popular this day and age. But it's starting to move. Every resistance is turning into rocket fuel right now. Now, we reclaimed 2,200, all right? Now, 4,000 is in sight. Overall, we think it's going to 10,000, and it's really, hopefully it's not going to take that long. Hopefully we don't get a stall. Now, come on over to total altcoin market. All right, altcoin market cap right now is sitting between 3.46 and 3.5 trillion, up like 2.5% just today, okay? Bitcoin dominance is steady at 63, 64%, but that edge is eroding thanks to Ethereum's movement and its surge. So altcoins like Solana, XRP, BNB, ADA are still pushing higher with strong volume, and our little H bar is starting to make some noise. Our little H bar that we were talking about is starting to make some noise. So momentum's building. Watch for follow through volume throughout today and tomorrow. We need to see the volume keep increasing, or we can get a little bit of stall. So Bitcoin. All right, back to Bitcoin. Just wrapping it up a little bit. Bitcoins. Spot ETFs continue to rake in capital. BlackRock's, okay, IBIT shares, okay, they're starting to pump. They earn more than their S&P 500 ETF. Ethereum staking, and also, it's a great ramping up, adding fuel to Ethereum's breakout. The staking, the ETF exposures are ramping up here. So macro sentiment, tech stocks are pumping. NASDAQ hit fresh highs. US dollar is getting punched in the nose a little bit, slightly weakening. All great signs for crypto booze. Now, bulls. I said crypto booze. Yeah, crypto booze. Sometimes you need a lot of booze when you're trading crypto, that's for sure. So these are all great signs for crypto bulls. Now, with the US EF tariff fears easing, traders are leaning back on to risk on, okay? So right now, Bitcoin, right now, 110,875, up about 1.9%, all new time highs. It's what's happening in Bitcoin itself is it is starting to consolidate, okay? Ethereum, sitting on that chart too long, but Ethereum right now in 2007.82, up 6% in 24 hours, leading the charge. ETF momentum is strong. Altcoins, Solana, XRP, BNB, and our little H bar are starting to make some noise. They're waking up. Okay, don't forget to look at this H bar. Okay, just, hey, whatever, I told you. Instead of spending $300 at the bar, maybe you want to spend $150 by $150 or H bar. Do your own research, okay? I'm not a financial advisor. But anyway, before we wrap up, I want to make sure that you're well aware of our trading community. You click on this link right here, you'll be taken over to this site. This is where we drop insane alpha trading opportunities every single day. We got long-term gems. We got you covered. You want to follow our trades with a solid broker, the broker that we suggest in our description right here. You click this link, you'll be taken over to WEX, the broker of our choice. Low fees, fast execution, perfect for our strategies. Make sure you get into the live stream, man. Make sure that you get in. It's free. If you don't like it, you could always get your money back, as I said before. So final takeaways before we wrap up is Bitcoin's breaking records, but it's Ethereum and altcoins that are signaling a broader move is brewing. If Ethereum keeps leading and volume flows into altcoins, this could be the official kickoff finally to alt season Q3. So stay sharp, stay focused, don't fade the momentum, do your own research. Okay, trade with your head and not over it. And remember, always, 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 if you're a short-term trader, enjoy the party, but dance near the door. Cheers.